Hey guys, I want to go ahead and talk about using the quadratic formula today. Now this is another way to go ahead and solve an equation, okay, a quadratic equation. Now the first step you should always try to do is you try to x factor. That's the easiest thing to do. Now the second step that we've already talked about is completing the square. Okay, now lastly, as you get into your higher levels of academics, you're going to have to be able to do the quadratic formula. Okay, so the purpose of this is to go ahead and solve. Okay, solve for x. Alright, so here's what you want to go ahead and do, and I'm just going to give you the formula. We can derive it, but that's really not going to help you guys out a lot. Unfortunately, um, it is a bit long, but just go ahead and the more you use it, the easier it'll get. Okay, so what you want to go ahead and do is you have to understand that each of these represent a letter. So the coefficient next to the x squared, that's your a. Your coefficient here with the x, that's your b. And this guy by itself, that's your c. And all you do is just what some students call plug and chug and make sure, okay, what I like to do is I like to take out the variable and put in the parentheses, okay, minus 4 parentheses and parentheses again, 2 parentheses here. So instead of b, I'm going to put the positive 2. Here I'm going to put another 2 here. Right here the variable for a, or the coefficient for a, which is 3. And then for 1. And then 2a, and again that's 3. And then you just go ahead and do the math. So for here, the first one, you're going to get negative 2, plus or minus. Okay. Now 2 squared is 4. Now right here, 4 times 3 times 1, well that's 12, and that's going to be negative 12. 2 times 3 is 6. And you just continue to do the math. Okay, 4 minus 12, hopefully it should ring a bell, it's negative 8 over 6. Now, right here we can't take the square root of a negative, so right here you're pretty much done and you'd say no solution. And actually the answer is no real solution. As we get into Algebra 2, there is a solution, it's called imaginary. But for us right now in Algebra 1, this is called no solution, and that's, you would end it there. Okay, and that's it. Go ahead and pause, see if you can do the second one. Let's go ahead and do the second one. Same thing. We want to go ahead and solve it. So x is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So remember, your coefficient with the x squared is your a, this guy's your b, and that's your c. And we just go ahead and solve it. X is equal to negative, parentheses, plus or minus. And just make sure you're careful with the signs. If there's a minus in front, you have to use a negative. So here, what happened, what variable or what coefficient is here next to the x squared? That's a 1. Okay, for b, I have to put a 4. That's a 4. Right here, a, you put a 1, and then another negative 1. And then you just do the math. X is going to be equal to negative 4 plus or minus 16 plus 4 divided by 2. And then when you just continue solving it, you're going to get 20 over 2. Okay, and that would be your solution. And that's the quadratic formula, guys. Hopefully that helped.